Hi guys, I'm Chris Bernard with InterCoastal Inspections, and I'm here today with Kim and Dave Nichols. How you guys today?
Good.
Doing good.
I'm Kim Nichols with Realty Pros.
And I'm Dave Nichols.
We're here today to talk about the home inspection process and how important it is when you're making that most important investment in your home. What do you guys think about the home inspection process in relation to a real estate purchase?
It's a must.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to look at the home as closely as possible, and you've got to do it with an experienced, certified home inspector.
Mm-hmm.
As we discussed on several occasions, people spend more time looking at a used car before they purchase it than they'll do looking at a house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's normally the single largest investment they'll ever make.
Right. People walk into a home, fall in love with it, not always aware, they're not checking under the sink or making sure outlets are working, and we're looking at electrical boxes. You know, they're not looking at the little details that can end up costing a homeowner, a potential buyer, a lot of money down the road, or cost them being able to get insurance. So it's important to have someone come in there that's what they do for a living and give them that thorough check.
I couldn't agree more, and I think on the other side, it's really important to have, a real estate agent that has your, as a buyer, your best interests in mind, and I think they go hand in hand,
Right.
So, have you ever come across an instance where a home inspection has either, been bypassed, or maybe a client decided not to go through the home inspection process?
We've had buyers want to skip it. We do our best to talk them into the importance of it. At least at a minimum, 4-point insurance inspection.
Mm-hmm.
That'll cover the high points of the home, some of the more costly items that have to be repaired and maintained. So when they move into the finished, or after the closing, that they're not going to have to incur any unforeseen expenses.
Right.
And I think you made a good point with the insurance, because in today's market, the insurance can get in the way of the entire transaction.
Right.
So, when we do a home inspection, some of the things we look at in the full home inspection are some of the insurance things, like, FPE panels, for instance, or, aluminum branch wiring, that type of thing. It's not visible to the eye unless you actually take apart the panel and you know what you're looking for. Inspectors that don't do this every day, they're really tied into the insurance, so they don't see that or hear about that.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need, I think it's important that you have someone that does it every day, not as a part-time
Exactly.
job.
Right. Well, from our own personal experience, from many years ago, before we were in the real estate business, we had someone do an inspection on our home. Was not you. And they said everything was fine. We purchased the home, and within 30 days after purchasing it, our insurance company told us we had to replace the roof or they would drop us. So it was an $8,000 unexpected expense that we could have negotiated prior to closing on the house, knowing if we'd have known it was a problem. So that was costly to us. Now, I will tell you that is it always easy for us to have someone who's so thorough in inspecting homes, and the buyer's gonna get a 30-page report. They're gonna know everything about that home, when during their home inspection contingency period, they're gonna know. Sometimes they go back and renegotiate, or they can walk away from the deal if they choose. But I would rather, as a buyer's agent, have my buyer know everything about that home, so that when they go into it, they'll know this is what I need to repair when I move in. They're not buying something brand new; they're buying something used usually. And there's going to be, every home's going to have some issues, and I would rather them know that and represent them, and look out for their best interest.
And Kim and Dave, you're the type of realtor that I love working with, honestly, because that's where we're coming from. We like to see our clients, 100% satisfied,
Mm-hmm.
and we'd like them to come back and use us again when they
Right.
buy another home, or we'd like them to tell their friends and family,
Right.
hey, they did a great job. They really cared about what we wanted, and
Right.
and it was a really expensive purchase, and they took care of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's really the end goal,
Mhm.
Yeah, we cause you problems, and I appreciate you going through it and, dealing with that,
Right.
but that's really the tale of a quality, real estate agent, in my mind.
It's
Right.
important not to give the impression of trying to hide something from people
Right.
too. With a
Absolutely.
thorough report, everything, we talked briefly about the electrical panels. Most people aren't gonna know the difference between the right panels and wrong panels. But a lot of people don't even check the simple things like the polarity of the plugs. Something that could potentially cause a fire down the road. You know, all these little things get added up, and when you show them to the potential buyer, it gives them an opportunity to either walk away, know what it's gonna cost to fix, go back and renegotiate, which happens in most of our cases. They'll go back to the buyer and say, these
The
things
seller.
need to be repaired, or the seller, excuse me, and say, these things need to be repaired. And they, and 9 times out of 10, will do it.
Right, 'cause sometimes the sellers really aren't even aware of some of the issues in their home.
Exactly,
you know?
you know, the disclosure statements they're only as good at what the seller knows.
Right.
There's a ton of issues usually the seller doesn't know, so, you know, this inspection is like, could be considered a completion of the disclosure statement.
Yes.
Exactly.
And, it would just be silly to bypass such an important part of the process. And an interesting figure is that home inspections generally cost about 0.001% of the home sale, which is pennies on the dollar for peace of mind.
That's right.
So I think we've pretty much nipped it in the bud. You need a quality real estate agent that has your best interests at heart, and you need that agent to be to know, either you or the agent to know a good home inspector, so that you know exactly what you're buying
Right.
prior to buying it.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Well, thanks for joining us today. I hope you got something out of this, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.